Hello, and a very warm welcome to our channel. In this video, we're going to have a look at the principle of operation and construction of a car differential. Right, you see, you are looking at a vehicle differential. As you can see, it is receiving power from the propeller shaft, which is actually connected to the gearbox. Gearbox is receiving power from the engine, multiplying torque, reducing speed, and then supply to the propeller shaft. After the propeller shaft, it goes to the rear differential. On this vehicle, we have one rear differential. As you can see, the differential is there to supply power from the propeller shaft to the axles. So the primary function of this is to transmit power. It receives power from the propeller shaft through the universal joints, and then it will transmit that power to the left and right wheel. It will split power that is coming from the propeller. As you can see, there is one input, but when it comes out, there are two outputs. Here we have one axle shaft, right there we have another axle shaft, so it will be supplying power to the left and right wheel. So the primary duty of the differential is to transmit power. Power coming from the propeller shaft will be splitted and then supplied to the left and right wheel at the differential. And then, as the name implies, the other duty of the differential is to allow the left and right wheel to be driven at different speed. As the name implies, it differentiates speed between the left and right wheel. If the left and right wheel have different resistance and different traction, the differential will allow that to happen. For example, when the vehicle is cornering, when you are turning, the inner wheel has to travel a smaller distance, but the outer wheel, due to the curvature, it has to travel longer distance. That is allowed by the differential. So when you look at the construction, we have an input, a smaller gear input from the drive pinion, and then we have a larger ring gear. So the differential will also act as a final gear reduction. The propeller has to travel multiple times in order to rotate this ring gear once. So we will be reducing speed and multiplying torque. So the differential will also serve as a final reduction. Usually for this type of vehicles, for example, there is a approximately 1 to 4 gear reduction is there. Torque will be multiplied 4 times. Speed will be reduced 4 times. So that is basically the duty of the differential. It will split power. Power coming from the propeller shaft will be split to the left and right wheel. It will transmit that power, and it will allow the left and right wheel to be driven at different speed. Now let's go ahead and have a look at the construction and principle of operation of this differential. When we look at the component parts of the differential, right here, this is the drive pinion or the input pinion, which is coming from the propeller shaft. And this pinion is in constant mesh to the ring gear. And then the ring gear is bolted to the differential carrier. This carrier, as you can see at the back, it is bolted. So the ring gear is bolted to the differential carrier. So when the ring gear moves, so does the differential carrier. Now on the differential carrier, we have a shaft that is inserted in here. There is a shaft right in here, and that shaft, it passes from one side of the differential carrier, it passes through and then comes out at the other tip. So when that pinion is rotating, it will move the ring gear. And when the ring gear is rotated, this differential carrier will move. And the differential carrier will move this shaft because the shaft is already inserted in there. Because the shaft is inserted in here, it will move with the differential carrier. This shaft, we call it the pinion shaft. And on that shaft, we have pinions. Right here, there is a small pinion. On the upper side, there is another pinion. So, when the ring gear is rotated, it will take away the differential carrier with it, and when the differential carrier is moving, it will take away the shaft with it. And when the shaft is moving, it will take this pinion and this pinion with it. And the pinion gears, they are in constant mesh to the side gears. There is one side gear here, there is another side gear on the other side, and the side gears are connected to the axle shaft. When we rotate the axle, the side gears are rotating. Look, see? These pinions, the side gears are driven by this pinion. So that is how the power flows. Power coming from the propeller shaft will be supplied to the pinion. The drive pinion is in constant mesh to the ring gear, and when the ring gear is rotating, the differential carrier will rotate. The differential carrier will move the shaft with it, and when the shaft is moving, it will take the pinions, and the pinions, because they are in constant mesh to the side gears, they will force the side gears to rotate with it, and that will transfer power to the left and right wheel. If you look closely, there is another side gear right there. This is another side gear meshed to the pinion gear. Now let's see it in action. As you can see, the drive pinion is supplying power to the ring gear. When the ring gear is rotating, this differential carrier is moving, and see that shaft there? The shaft is moving along, and that will take the pinions. Look, the pinions which are engaged to the side gears, they are also moving together. This is how power is transmitted. Now, as you can see, when there is no resistance variation between the left and right wheel, the pinions are not rotating. See the pinions? Those tiny pinions are not rotating. Only the side gear is moving. This is when the vehicle is moving in a straight line, or when the traction between the left and right wheel is the same. The pinions, they will remain stationary on their shaft, but the side gears, they get receiving power from the pinion gear. Now let's see what will happen when one of the side has higher resistance. For example, when the vehicle is cornering. Now look what happens when the vehicle is cornering, or when one side has greater resistance. Now the pinions, they start rotating on their shaft. Just look at these pinions. Look at these pinions. When there is resistance variation between the left and right wheel, the pinions, they start to rotate. Look, they start to rotate, and they transfer additional power to the wheel with less resistance. Now, as you can see, for example, right now, the right wheel is free to rotate, so the right wheel is running faster than the left wheel. This way, the pinions start rotating on their shaft, working on the left side gear, transferring additional power to the right side gear. That way, the differential will allow speed variation between the left and right wheel. Look what will happen when the right wheel is kept stationary. When the right wheel is kept stationary, the right side gear is not rotating. For example, if the one gear has less traction, look, the side pinion gear is not rotating. Pinions are working on their shaft and transmitting that additional power, working on this side gear and transmitting that additional power gear to the right, to the left side gear. So by this, you can see the left and right wheel are now being driven at different speed. See? Look, the right side gear is stationary. Pinions are working on the right side gear. They are transferring power to the left. See, the left side gear is rotating, but the right side gear is not rotating. This is a scenario when one wheel goes to muddy or slippery road, for example. It will spin while the other tire remains stationary. So by allowing speed variation between the left and right gear, the left and right wheel, the differential will allow speed variation between the left and right wheel. Let's have a look at in detail, in depth, how this is happening. In order to clearly understand how the differential actually allows speed variation, let's simulate what is going on with the shaft, with the pinion, and with the side gear by simply using this pen, for example. Let's say this pen indicates the pinion, a pair of teeth, one teeth and other teeth of that pinion gear. Let's say that teeth is right here, and this teeth, the teeth that is engaged to the right side gear, is this end. And the pinion is held with a shaft like so, in the middle. This is the shaft that is serving as a power supply to the pinion. Now what will happen? When the ring gear is rotated, the shaft is moving. When the shaft is moving like so, it will bring along the pinion gears. The pinion gear, which is connected to one side gear here, will bring the side gears this way, and there is another side gear on the other side. It will bring both side gears with it. So the side gears will be receiving power in such a fashion. It will be pushed Similarly, the one on the left side, it will also be pushed. So power will be transferred from the ring gear to the differential carrier, then through the shaft to the pinion. Pinion is now pushing this side gear, and similarly, pinion is pushing the side gear on the left side. Now, what will happen when there is equal resistance? If there is equal resistance acting on this, on the left and right side, if the resistance is equal, this will not rotate. It will remain stationary, and it will supply same power, same speed to the left and right wheel. Now, what will happen when one of the wheels have higher traction, higher resistance? Look, for example, what will happen when this wheel has higher resistance? As the shaft tries to move, due to increased resistance, this side gear slows down. See, shaft is moving towards us, towards the camera. Side gear is having increased resistance. So what will happen? See what is causing? The resultant will make this pinion to rotate. See, shaft is moving along, moving this way, but this is higher resistance. It will start rotating. When it starts rotating, another teeth will come, keeps on rotating. So the pinion will start walking on this side gear. It will walk on this side gear. In doing so, look what will happen to this end. See what is happening? It is increasing speed, pushing this end, pushing the left side gear is getting pushed. It is pushing the left side gear so that it can increase its speed. So if the right wheel speed is reduced by half, then the speed of the left will double. So that is how the differential allows a speed variation by simply depending on the resistance of the left and right side gear. So that is how these pinions, they allow a speed variation. So every time you are cornering, there is a speed variation between the left and right wheel. Every time you are driving on a slippery road, when there is traction difference between the left and right wheel, there is a speed variation. Now when the left and right wheel have equal resistance, as you can see, the pinion is not rotating on their shaft. Pinions are not rotating on their shaft. When there is equal resistance between the left and right wheel, pinions will remain stationary. They are not rotating. Look, for example, right now the pinion is not rotating on its shaft. It is keeping stationary, transmitting equal amount of power to the left and right wheel. Now let's hold the right wheel. Look, when I'm holding this side gear, increasing resistance, see what is happening now. See, the pinions are now rotating. This pinion is now rotating, walking on this side gear, providing additional force to the left side gear. That way, the differential will allow speed variation between the left and right wheel. So every time there is a difference between the left and right wheel traction, if there is a difference in resistance between the left and right wheel, the pinions, they start rotating on their shaft, walking on one side gear, transferring additional speed, additional power to the one that is with less resistance. So this will allow the left and right wheel to be driven at different speed. That is how the differential is designed to allow speed variation between the left and right wheel. So basically, that is why the name differential is used. It differentiates the speed between the left and right wheel. But when there is normal traction, again, the pinion will remain stationary. Every time there is a variation in traction and variation in load between the left and right wheel, pinions start spinning on their shaft, increasing one wheel speed while the other speed is made to turn slowly. So this is how the differential speed variation, left and right wheel speed variation is allowed by this configuration. But when it comes to torque, this standard differential, they provide equal torque to the left and right wheel, but the job that the torque does depends on the resistance. The one with less resistance will move faster. The one with a higher resistance will be forced to slowly move due to increased resistance. So if you have a normally functioning differential tire wear, when you are driving, when you are turning, when you are cornering. But if the differential is not functioning properly, that might increase tire wear as you are cornering, because it will force one of the wheel to skid instead of rotating. So this is basically how the differential is constructed and how it is operating. Now, because the differential is transmitting extra amount of load, there is excessive friction between the pinion and the ring gear, so it needs a very nice lubrication. Always make sure that you have the right amount of oil inside your differential, and also make sure that the quantity and quality of oil is always maintained. That requires regular checkup and regular replacement depending on the interval set by the car manufacturer. And always make sure that you are reusing the right type of oil for this purpose. There is a very massive friction going on between the ring gear and the pinion. Right there is a very massive friction going on between those two teeth, because this is transferring a massive amount. It is carrying the entire load of the vehicle and transmitting excessive force right there. That friction requires well lubricated matching surfaces that make sure that you have sufficient and abundant oil inside your differential, and make sure that it is replaced in time. So by doing this oil replacement, you can prolong the service life of your vehicle differential. Otherwise, if there is lack of lubrication, the differential will fail prematurely. So the number one cause of early differential failure is basically lack of lubrication. So make sure that your differential is well lubricated. Make sure that you are using the right type of oil, and always avoid aggressive driving. Aggressive driving will cause these teeth to face excessive stress that will lead to excessive friction and excessive stress. Avoid aggressive driving, like burnouts, like lunging out. All that can cause excessive stress on your differential. So always make sure that you drive smoothly, accelerate smoothly. Avoid rough driving. That way you can prolong the service life of your differential. These differentials, if they are well maintained, they can last the lifetime of the vehicle. But if it is not well maintained, it can fail early, and it's really expensive component to replace. Well, that is all we have for you regarding some of the things that you need to know regarding the car differential, and some of the precautions and maintenance things that you need to do. If you find this video helpful, and if you enjoy the presentation, don't forget to smash the like button. If you are new to this channel, do consider subscribing, turn on notification so that you will be the first to get notified whenever we come up with another video. And don't forget to share this video with friends and anybody who can benefit from this video. We'll see you in another video. Until then, stay safe and drive safe as well.